All right, coaches, welcome back to episode 4 of the New Jersey High School Strength and Conditioning Strength Coaches podcast, powered by the NHS SCA. Paul's got his nice windbreaker on, nhssca.us. If you are a high school strength coach or a high school coach running the weight room, you could go to nhssca.us. You could get more information about what we do. You could become a member. There's amazing articles, resources inside the website. And of course, we have an awesome Facebook group, awesome people, supportive people, just great people, Paul, I love nice people. I just want to say that. I
Me
do.
too.
I feel there's no reason to be mean. And I remember, I don't know how many years ago it was, but I was having a conversation with somebody. I honestly don't remember who it was. I just remember what I said to this person. They were talking about, I hate this person, I hate that person. I was like, man, I don't have room in my heart to hate people. Like, if
No
people
way.
done wrong to me, I'll remember it. Okay. I'll cut ties, but that's it. Like, I'm not going to hate them, whatever. And also, nobody's perfect. People do things, but I'm not going to hate. And you and I were chatting a little bit before recording about kind of professionalism in our being a professional. I've actually made a video on this. I think I made a video on this. I made a lot of videos, right? So
Yeah.
Brett Bartholomew once commented on Twitter. Maybe it wasn't Twitter. It's all a blur, but this is what he said. He was at some sort of a event, and I believe he either crossed paths with Dana White or sat at a table with him. And, hey, what do you guys do? Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, I'm a strength coach. And I think Dana White's comment was like, man, your profession is the only profession / industry where I've heard so many people slander their own colleagues, people in their own industries. Like, I've never seen that elsewhere. And I remember Brett was like embarrassed by that. And that is embarrassing
Mhm.
because I think in my younger years as a coach, I felt like there was one way or these ways, right? Especially I remember early years, like you were either powerlifting or either Olympic lifting or just kettlebells. Like you couldn't blend them all together. But there's a time and place for everything, and just no need to put others down. Just be
No
nice.
doubt.
Be
I'll tell you
nice.
what, the first Northeast Regional at Coach McKenna's place, Kevin Vanderbush, and it's that's somebody I can call on, and he's the real deal. I
Yep.
think it was his second slide, and all it said on it was, "Don't be that guy." Like
Hmm.
I'm trying to take notes. I'm like, what's he talking about? He goes, "This is my presentation. These are my thoughts. This is what I
Right.
want to talk about. Don't be the guy who disputes everything I do or asks a question and is, a little bit cynical on what I'm talking about." He
Yeah.
goes, "Don't be that guy during my presentation." I'm like,
Nice.
that's right. They just laid it out on the
I'm
line. I thought that
stealing
was
that.
awesome.
That's going to be slide 1 for me.
Yeah.
Because so this is, you see this magazine I'm holding up?
Hmm.
It's called Hard Training by Dr. Ken. These were gifted to me by our good friend, Coach McKenna. This is from March 2001. He gave me a bunch of them. I love Dr. Ken. Dr. Ken, rest in peace. He's in the iron heavens, passed away a little bit over a year ago. But Dr. Ken was a power lifter. He trained at Zuver's Hall of Fame gym.
Wow.
He trained under Arthur Jones. He helped the guys, I believe, start up the Hammer Strength Company. He was a big believer in the HIIT, the very high intensity. Do I believe high intensity is good with the barbell lifts? I've seen Dr. Ken, I have him on VHS tape doing like RDLs, really. I don't believe in that, but you know what? I love Dr. Ken. I love what he stands for. Maybe I don't believe in that piece, but I love a lot of everything else he's done. I feel like that guy's mentored me, yet I never met him. And even though I don't agree with everything, man, I wish I could have met him. I would have hugged him. And I feel as a professional, we are professionals. It's important for us to keep that standard high and keep your mind open because, I'm 45, you're 21. Okay. As we coach more, I find myself saying, for example, the high school I'm at, we have lat pull downs. Sometimes I'll say, you're going to do any pulling motion. You could do a pull up, a recline row, or a lat pull down. Whereas probably, 15 years ago, I'd be like, the chin up is superior. That's the, like, God forbid somebody does a lat pull down or a machine. And I posted a video of Werner Gunther training on Instagram. He was doing machine work and his coach was like doing forced eccentrics on it. And it's like, wow, here's a multiple time world champion shot putter, best in the world, doing things that we might say is incorrect. But it's interesting how the time, the place, the context, the whole situation, is like my answer to these things is it good? Is it bad? Well, it depends. It
Yeah.
depends,
I just was listening before we got on. I'm taking that the play mentorship, coaches mentorship, and Gary
Yes.
was talking about, hey, our job right now is to help them play more and play better.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what how we get there. So if you check back with your kids, they're doing really well. They're staying healthy, staying on the field, playing more and playing
Right.
better. What you're doing is working.
Safe.
So I think I said it was my last slide in that Northeast Regional. I said, we can argue all day. Is a zebra a black horse with white stripes or a white horse with black stripes? It's
Right.
still a zebra.
Yeah.
What we're doing is strength and conditioning. It's not rocket science.
Yeah.
So make sure your kids are doing what they're supposed to in the room. Make sure that they're doing it with intent and focus and they're disciplined. And I guarantee when they walk out of the room, they're going to walk out a better student athlete. Hands down.
A better person. And I think we're going to pick up on this program design stuff after our guest. Our guest is going to hop on. It's Rich Carroll. What's that?
I just wanted to bring it out.
What do we got?
Coach Keith, I got my Adidas sweatshirt that I'm going to wear the next time, baby.
We are a nonprofit, but I'm going to ask, for the Cadillac.
All right. One show, we'll do a road show.
A road show. So our guest today is my athletic director, my boss, Rich Carroll. Rich Carroll hired me. He was one of the people that hired me. So I'm in Middletown School District in Middletown, New Jersey, 2 high schools. And this is a brand new position. It was started September of 2020. And so actually that would have been September 2019, my bad. September of 2019. So the position is 1.5 years old. It's actually not even a year because I was in for 4 months. Rich is going to hop on and we're going to talk about starting a strength and conditioning program from the ground up. So when he comes on, we'll introduce him and I'll let you go with the first question. All right, Paul, I've got your list of questions. So here we go. Rich Carroll. Rich. There we go.
Hey.
Everybody doing? Good night.
Rich.
Oh, how are you? Zach?
Good, very good.
I know. I've only seen Rich a few hours ago. Rich is, on his 15th hour of work today.
Basketball just finished up. Long night.
Okay. The life and times of an athletic director. So Rich, I did a brief intro. We're recording. I mentioned that this strength and conditioning position at Middletown South School District is brand new. It's not even a year old technically because I was in for 4 months. My colleague, Mark Rosamilia, was in, I guess he started in September. So he was in for 6 months. So it's like about a year and it was a brand new position. And Rich, I don't know how many public schools have full-time strength coaches. It's definitely less than 10 in New Jersey. It's very, very new. So I'm going to let Paul ask you the first question, and we're going to try to get this message out to other athletic directors, other coaches who could present it to maybe their principal, their athletic directors, because what I've seen, Rich, is schools are investing in equipment. They're buying and setting up a new weight room, yet they didn't invest in the person, the expert who could run it. So I'm going to let Paul take it away and we'll just kind of go back and forth for about 20 minutes.
Perfect.
Yes.
Awesome. Rich and I met at the AD's convention. I think it was in 2019.
Exactly.
And you had already had this on the table as far as thinking about it. Right. So what I wanted to ask was, what was the catalyst with that? So before you even knew about what we were doing with the NHSSCA and the high school strength and conditioning, what was the catalyst? Who helped you get it going, and where did it come from?
It was a long process. when I got to, I've been in Middletown 8 years now, and we had always had pretty good athletic teams. They have a strong tradition here. My first 3 years, we had a football team in either North or South go to the state finals. We were the #1 team in the state in 2015. We had some great girls soccer teams, track programs. So, and we were always, as a coach, always looking to go from good to great to greater. And one day we were sitting down, Pat Rennell and I, who was the principal at South. He's now the assistant superintendent in the district. And we sat down with some coaches and we asked, what can we do to take the next step? What do we have to do to get better and everything like that? And almost to a man or a woman, they said, we need a full-time strength and conditioning program. You look at AAU programs, they go out, they have great coaches, but then they go to personal trainers and things like that. So Pat and I really struggled of what this would look like. We struggled to see what the logistics would be, how it would be run, how we'd schedule, how we'd fit it into a budget. And I went to the conference, the state conference, and I met this guy, Paul Galoti, who kind of mapped out what we should be looking at. My main question to you, Paul, was what should we be looking for? Certification, what type of person? And you kind of mapped it out to me. And then you invited me up there to 100 Central, and it was life-changing, or, it opened our eyes as far as what we wanted to do from a facility standpoint, what we were looking for as a coach, what we were looking for from a scheduling standpoint. So it was really, Pat Rennell and I kind of worked on this for a couple of years, and then we brought it to the Board of Education. We worked with our curriculum people. We were able to kind of mold a phys ed position, with the idea of having strength and conditioning during the course of the day, after school with our athletic teams. And, our goal was really a couple things. One, to make our athletic teams better, but two, to get other kids in the weight room. And we've seen that dramatic improvement. And the other thing was to get girls in the weight room. We had very few girls in the weight room at all. So, and we've accomplished that. Zach kind of hit on, we've only had it for about a year. We've just really scratched the surface, and we were just trying to make, starting to make headway when COVID kind of, hit us. So, but that's really what spurred us. And again, we haven't seen the fruits of everything yet, but it is a worthwhile program that we are both excited at North and South.
Good. All right.
You picked the right guy, I can tell you that.
I picked two good guys. I got two good guys.
Coach Rosemilia is awesome as well.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Rich, what's interesting is I'm actually not sure. So I knew two of the coaches at the high school that I'm at, Middletown High School South. And there was a series of people being interviewed for the position. And so I guess you guys sort of knew about me. I had some references, but what were you guys looking for? Did you have kind of a checklist when you went through? We did an interview that was actually quite short because one of the interviewers came a little bit late. So were you looking for certain things? Because some of these coaches out there that are trying to, help create this position, I think they don't actually know what administration is truly looking for.
Right. And that was really my question when I met Paul is, about certification. And I didn't know about all the different certifications out there. And I asked what we should be looking for. And, somebody obviously with knowledge of, strength and conditioning, a full comprehensive program, not just a coach that's in there that, might have a football workout or something like that, core strength and going, things like that. Energetic, we were looking for an energetic person that is well liked with the kids. And we knew it was going to be a process. It wasn't going to be, we're going to bring somebody in right away and the kids were just going to hit off because it was a major change, a shift. So that's really what we were looking for, a knowledgeable person that's really going to take the bull by the horns, because we really didn't know what we had. We knew we had some great facilities. We had the equipment, but we weren't, we didn't know how we were utilizing it properly. So we needed somebody to come in and kind of set the bar and just develop a program from bottom line.
Yeah. You have another question, Paul, and then I'll ask the next one.
You saw our facility, and I know the obstacles we went through just to do that one-time money down on that. What was your biggest obstacle? I know everybody's going to say, well, I can't afford it. When we were at the AD's convention, it was, hey, we just don't have the budget. We don't have the budget. Was that one of your biggest obstacles, or what was one of your biggest obstacles getting this going?
From a facility standpoint, we have a pretty good facility. Some of our equipment is older. We, had to renovate things, but we have a pretty good space. And Zach can tell you more about it. We don't have, we look to get to the 100 and Central where, we're talking about flooring and putting the turf and things like that and adding different equipment. The biggest obstacle was, kind of coming up with a schedule and kind of fitting it within the budget constraints that we had. So again, we kind of paired it with a phys ed position, with the idea that they would be teaching phys ed. We kind of had a hybrid teacher schedule where the coach would come in later in the day and then stay later, basically working the teacher's hours, but, from 12 to 7 or whatever it was, 11 to 6, whatever. And they would teach a course during the school day. And again, that would hopefully be, strength and conditioning for not only athletes, but anybody that wants to be in there. So coming up with that and then taking it to the curriculum people, we had a great superintendent at the time who was very much in athletics and let us really run with it. He had 4 Division I athletes in his family. So Dr. George let us run with it. So there were some obstacles, but, we really were lucky in being able to get this going, and the timing was just perfect. The biggest obstacle I had was I had to come up with 2 Zachs because I have 2 high schools. So, let alone finding one, qualified coach, I had to go out and find 2. And we did. We didn't have a great candidate pool as far as numbers, but we found 2 very good quality guys. So that was the biggest obstacle, finding 2.
Yeah. Now that I'm remembering it, Rich, I was interviewed early August, which is late, because I was already working in another school district. And then I heard back to come in for like a follow-up some like 3 weeks later. So almost near the end of August, just shy of 2 weeks before the school year. And then I had to get released from the school district. So what I don't know if people understand is it's not, you mentioned the budget. The school district is not paying somebody, 1 year. It's year after year.
Sure.
So, now that I'm in the school district, I see things like we're voting on things. The parents are involved with voting for administrators. What was there some sort of voting process for this new position?
Well, it was, with the budget cuts and things like that, it was basically, we were waiting to hear whether we could add this position. So, we kept hearing positive things, but until, early August, we didn't know if we were going to be able to have these positions. And once we got the go ahead, we had to move real quick because we had less than a month to hire somebody. And again, trying to find 2 quality people was very difficult. So that's why they took place in August. Mark was able to start right away. We had to wait for you. But we just kept getting put off as we think we can do it. We think we can do it. And then we finally got to go ahead to do it.
Yes.
And that was, again, some people will see it as a novelty of having a strength and conditioning coach. I see it as a necessity anymore with athletic programs. As a public school, we can offer things that, a lot of other schools can't do. Again, if you go to an AA program, you go to your practice, and then what do you do after that? You go to your personal trainer. Well, in Middletown, you don't have to go to your personal trainer because we got them right on staff. You're built into your schedule during the course of the week. And that's one of the ways we sold it to, the board and the public and things like that. And again, we've scratched the surface, but it's really starting to take off now. And you see the kids gravitating. And again, it's just not the athletes, and it's the girls and it's the non-athletes, and they want to be in there. And previous to that, we had coaches running the weight room, and they did a great job. But again, they weren't, knowledgeable and, full strength and conditioning, the comprehensive program that we were looking for. And if the football coach is in there, well, the football team's going to be in there. You're not going to see the girls soccer team. And the schedules that Zach and Mark have worked out, we do have times for the girls to go in and they can work out on their own. So, they would never intermingle with boys. Now we start to see that, but there is time for everybody to get in there.
Right. Paul, I know you were going to ask Rich if he would do anything differently now that we're in it. I mean, if we look at it, I think I remember I was hired on my daughter's birthday. It was like August 28th. And so, Mark basically had a week to go in, organize and do things. What would you do anything different? I mean, we've had changes to, we had COVID, we have a new superintendent, I've got a new principal. There's been so many changes. Has there been any, like, you're like, whoa, we should have done XYZ differently?
Not per se. I don't know that I would change anything the way, again, I haven't seen the program full swing yet. I mean, I've seen bits and pieces. I think what I would have changed, I would have done it earlier. I wish I had done this, 7, 8 years ago. When I was at New Egypt 8 years ago, we had just hired a guy that knew strength and conditioning, and I kind of started to understand what it was about. So when I came to Middletown, I knew we wanted to do that. So I wish I had done it sooner. We also had plans, Zach and I talked about having open houses with parents and, doing workouts and kind of rolling out for board members and things like that. So I hope to do that in the future, but, we did get shut down, so we weren't able to do those things. I want the public to see more of what we're doing and, some of the great things. And just the way Mark and Zach have adapted. I mean, I see these guys out in the cold weather with kettlebells, I mean, we've just, increase the size of our gym capacity. So, the one thing I am proud of is we really never have fully shut down for a long period of time other than back in the spring. We've kind of kept it going, and it's really a credit to the two guys I have that kind of, it might not be the program they want right now, but we are continuing to go. So,
Yeah.
and we just got the okay to increase our size, a number of athletes in the weight room going forward. So it's a good thing.
Yep. Paul, you got anything else, buddy?
Oh, no, I tell you that we talk about it all the time, and Zach and I have talked about this, that, nobody's ever going to remember Zach and I for our sets and rep schemes. It's going to be about, the life lessons, the discipline, the memories, the good times. I see his posts, and I love watching the kids at Middletown just having a great time in the weight room and enjoying it. And that's what you fostered. That's what you brought to Middletown by creating these positions. And, like you said, you're only scratching the surface right now, but 6, 7, 8 years down the road, when you see some of these kids come back as successful now adults, men and women with families, you're going to look back and say, hey, we had a lot to do with that as far as what we did in the strength and conditioning world for them.
And the big thing that Zach and I have been talking about lately, and it's a big topic right now with COVID and the kids not being at school and the hybrid, is the mental aspect of it.
Yeah.
And Zach is a big proponent of that. And again, seeing those kids come out of the weight room now that there's some sense of normalcy in their life, that they can work out, and that you see a big difference. You see a smile on their face for a change. So,
Yeah.
And Zach continues to hit that home with everything he does, and Mark as well. So that's huge for us right now.
Rich, I do have a final question. What advice would you give to coaches out there who might be volunteering out of school? It seems like they start as a volunteer, then maybe a booster club helps. What advice would you give to them with regards to fostering relationships with more than just one sport coach, trying to communicate? Because I think sometimes, like you said, sometimes an athletic director, they still may not know what actual strength and conditioning is. The board members might think, what is this? My son could just go to Planet Fitness for $10. So Any advice to the up and coming coach trying to make it happen?
Yeah. My advice, from starting the program is you've got to find the right person. You've got to have somebody that makes the weight room a place that people want to be. If it's just, workout and it's not fun, it's not, enjoyable for them, it's not going to change the culture. Again, prior to you guys coming in here, the culture was that, it was for the football team and the teams that, were in there with the coach. But you've got to have somebody that fosters a caring culture that the kids want to be involved in. And we're getting there. We're definitely getting there.
You got to be, I always say, my decisions are cut and dry. The kids are number one, do stuff for the kids. And I think for the coaches out there, you need to make good relationships with administration, with parents, of course, most of all, the kids that you're working with. And that's, like you said, it's the culture. You need to make everybody feel like this is a place for them. And sometimes that's tough. Like if you're not a social kind of person, you have to be a little bit of a politician and learn to, connect with the right people.
Well, you hit it on the head. Any type of coaching, whether you're the baseball coach, strength and conditioning coach, it's all about relationships. Yes. It's not about the dumbbells. It's about the relationships you forge and the belief you put in the kids and, the work ethic. So again, my greatest memory of coaching for over 25 years is the relationship I have with the kids and going back to their weddings and seeing their kids now and things like that. It's not, wins and losses or what we did on the field. It's right. More about the personal relationships we had. And it's no different in strength and conditioning or any business, any leadership position. It's all about relationships.
Very true. So, Rich, I'm so tempted to say, if you have questions, reach out to Rich, but Rich gets like 9,000 emails a day.
That's okay. Please reach out to me. I'm on the website, middletownak12.org. So reach out to me, what we've done. I'm sure people have better ways to do it out there. Again, we kind of flew by the seat of our pants and we took our time and asked the right people, the right questions. And, again, we're seeing the fruits of the labor, but I'm sure there's other ways to do it. And, how we sold it to the board and things like that, because it's always about money right now. And we can't do this, we can't do that. But, if you get the right person in there with just limited equipment, it'll fly. It'll flourish.
Yes. Rich, so awesome chatting with you. And I will see you probably tomorrow or sometime during the week. Paul, just hang tight. Rich, thanks again for your time. You're the best.
Thank you, Rich.
Take care, Paul.
Bye, Rich. Thank you. Okay. Okay. So Rich, we'll see you later, buddy. So Paul, you still there?
Yes, sir.
Nice. Well, I got to say a couple things about the school district. So I don't know if people know, but I got into teaching as an elementary phys ed teacher in 1998, and I taught through 2009. And, during that time I had started the online business, the warehouse gym, all that. And I was private. Then I was in the colleges. I went to Lehigh, 2014, 2015, Rutgers for 2017 to 2018, like a year and a half. And, when I had my interview at Middletown South, I was like, I never got that kind of feeling like this. I was like, wow, those people are great. I'm in the right place. Like the vibe I got was awesome. And what happened was, because there's two high schools, we had two principals. We had Pat Ranella, who at the time his position was called Director of Operations. Now he's Assistant Superintendent. My principal was there, but now he's got a different position that's based on like health and safety in the school. But, the interview started late and there was another guy next to me ready to go in for his interview. So I think the interview went like 15 minutes, should have been like 30. And I could tell we just all hit it off. And then I asked the secretary, the athletic secretary, if she could just show me the weight room. And then I asked if she could introduce me to the trainer. So I spoke to the trainer. I almost interviewed, the athletic trainer. What kind of injuries did you have? And all that stuff was just out of my interest. What has been happening here? Have there been any ACL injuries? What did the injuries happen from contact, non-contact, practice, competition? And those conversations I had got back to administration. And they really liked me. I knew the football coach and I knew the wrestling coach. And I think they pulled for me. And we had a blank slate. There was no, hey, do this, do that. I came in, I cleaned the place. I had to fix things up. Blank slate. And now, as Rich said, I have one phys ed class where I basically do strength and conditioning. But what happened this year is we have also a new supervisor, a lot of administration changes. And he said, Zach, if you really want to be able to do strength and conditioning during phys ed, he's like, you have to be part of the curriculum team. I was like, the guy's name's Mark. I go, Mark, I don't have a minute to breathe. He goes, I know. I go, but Mark, if you're telling me that this is going to make the future better, I'll find time to do it. And he goes, I said, okay, I'm a big picture guy. I could write, all the stuff, but then I'll need you to help me with the details. He goes, I'll do it. So I have put like a framework of it. When it's done, I'll post it to the member resources for our members. But, you know, I got lucky. There's definitely luck involved. I found the right place. Before this, Paul, a very small school district was going to try to hire me, but they couldn't make it happen because of financial reasons. And it worked out. And look, that school, by the way, built a brand new weight room. You know, they went with some of our sponsors for setting the flooring up, the weight room. I think it was about $100,000 weight room. And so they got the stuff, but you got to invest in the people first and foremost. You know,
You say it all the time, you know, so with your private gym, it's not the biggest space. It's, you know, it's the people you have in there. And again, how you go about your business. You can tell the kids why all you want, but if they go in there and they know why, but they just don't get it done, you know, it's not going to make a difference. And, you know, somebody once told me the best compliment you can get is that somebody will tell you that you get it, you understand it. And Rich understands it. He gets it. You know, at that AD's convention, I had so many guys and women come up to me and say, "Hey, you know, we're good. We're good." You know, they were happy with what they had and what was going on.
Wow.
Rich spent time with me and he drove an hour and change up to 100 Central for a whole day to come up and
I think he went with Pat.
Yeah, he came up with
You see,
and
oh, go ahead.
They just talked about everything we talked about.
Yeah.
And he gets it. He understands what it's going to do in the long run for the Middletown school district.
For the kids. What is the best thing to do for the kids? And, you know, Rich did mention our superintendent at the time. He retired, but our superintendent was a Division I football player himself. His boys wrestled at Cornell. You know, his brother is a head football, wrestling and track coach for like 32 years. You know, they love sports. And so you need, if somebody doesn't know sports, I even say this about the parents of the kids I train or parents in general. If these parents were not competitive athletes, really trying to be competitors versus just sometimes you have a kid that's just part of the team, they may not really understand, you know, the extent. They can't quite grasp, you know, the extent and the power of what this stuff does. And Rich mentioned a lot about the relationships and the kids and the culture. I saw a coach post somewhere recently, and we kind of kicked off our podcast about being professional, being kind. He said something about the buy-in, like talking about buy-in is BS. He's like, when you walk through those doors, they look at you, they either buy in or they don't. And see, to me, that's completely wrong because it's all about you. How big am I? How much do I bench? What do I squat? And I remember seeing a guy, he kind of like mimicked all of this fitness stuff. He's like, hey guys, I just want to talk to you guys about me. And I want to tell you about this, you know, this thing that I am doing, and it's me and I. And I was like, wow, that is so true. And Alan Cosgrove told me in 2003, he goes, Zach, what's everybody's favorite radio station? He goes, WIIFM. What's in it for me? And I said, dude, you're absolutely right. It has nothing to do with what you think is important. And Mike Boyle, you know, said that. He goes, no, your kids, you know, they might be impressed if you're benching or lifting heavy, but deep down, it's like they don't care if you've got six-pack abs. You know, I interviewed legendary strength coach Johnny Parker. He said this. I love this. I don't think we've shared this quote yet, Paul. He said, good coaches coach weights. Great coaches coach people. Absolutely. And it was like, you know, because in the beginning, what do you coach? You coach winning. You talk about points on the board, win this, win that. Then you get deeper into coaching. You get more mature. You interact with kids differently. You experience the highs and lows, the ups and downs. And then you start realizing it's about the scoreboard of life.
Yeah.
Like Rich said, he's been through the wins, the losses, state championship teams, losing teams. He goes, that's not what it's about.
You develop a culture. You're starting to do that. And we have our defensive coordinator who played at Penn State says it all the time. He says, if we do the next right thing every day, and we work to have unconditional love for each other, scoreboard's going to take care of itself.
Yeah,
It will.
There's that book I've got. I see the book here. Tom Coughlin says, "Earn the right to win." When you go through that, he talks about just doing the right things.
Yeah.
It's somewhere on my shelf, but it's called the score takes care of itself, and that's
Yeah.
written. I'm trying not to turn away from the mic. The score takes care of itself. I think that was also written by an NFL
It was
coach.
the 49ers. It was Bill Walsh.
Yes, yes, yes. And my father-in-law gave me that book. And look, you got to have the right administration. Like my principal got promoted to central office. He was awesome. He is awesome, but he's, not in the building anymore, but we're still in communication because of he's in charge of the health and safety. But he always, gave me the freedom. It was like, he's like, they're busy. They're so busy. You don't want to ask administration a million questions and bog them down. They want you to take the bull by the horns, create the framework, make sure it's safe and it's in the best interest of the kids, and move like that. That's what's going on now is administrators are really bogged down with so much stuff, not just academically, but with COVID, with these schedule changes, that are happening weekly and biweekly, that as a strength coach, I believe you don't need to give them another headache. You need to take things off their plate, and you need to be able to say to them, don't worry about that. I'll handle it. Give that to me. And I always said that was a missing link that I had working in the college sector, because I was not a full-time guy. So I'd have to be there and then I'd have to zip home and run my gym. And it didn't allow me to get outside of the sport and communicate with maybe the economics and business professors if they wanted me to speak on running a business. It didn't allow me to go and connect with any of these student clubs. You need to contribute to the whole framework of that school, whether it's a private school or a public school. You need to be something that's more than just the strength and conditioning coach. You don't want them to look at you as like expendable. Like, this guy, I could just get another guy that could teach how to squat, bench, and deadlift, because it's not just what we do, it's how we do it. And then it's all those connections with the kids. And I'm always at my happiest when I got more kids in that room, helping more kids. And like Rich said, we were able to increase the numbers in the weight room. And I was when I left today, I was like, man, what a great day. I had more kids in there. Yesterday I had two of the girls' teams in there. I always tell those girls, I was like, you girls make me a better coach. They just make me better. That, I think I'm lucky. And I hope other coaches can get lucky. It definitely takes a lot. And you're going to need a forward-thinking athletic director and administrators. Like you said, a lot of athletic directors kind of bypassed you. That was the athletic director convention.
Yeah.
And they were just like, we're good. To me, that's fatal, because they're in charge of the coaches. That trickles down. I don't want to go back to Rich and say, hey, Rich, I got to tell you, these past 2 weeks, I've done a good job. He'd be like, what the heck is this guy? A good job? Like, I don't want nobody here to do a good job. They need great.
Yeah.
They need
energy
great.
Every day, baby. Energy mirrors energy.
Energy is
bring the kids will mirror.
Energy is important. What else do you feel? You've had a little time, you're quarantining. Have you been able to reflect on things that you feel is maybe important that you haven't reflected on them because you've been normally so busy, you're working, coaching, hustling? You've had a little downtime.
It's kind of the way it was in the spring, just getting those connections back with the kids any way we could. And everybody says they're so tired of Zoom, but sometimes it's refreshing just to be one-on-one with a student and just talk about, hey, how things are going, versus, having 3 or 4 of them all around. And maybe now that student is a little bit shy and doesn't want to speak their mind. Now you have that one-on-one opportunity to, just to chat, just to talk about life. How are things going? Do they have their hoodie up? Do they have it down?
Yeah.
Hey, how you feeling today? Just their state. And
those
I
are
think
important.
that's been great.
That's very important, Paul, mentioning that. You mentioned hoodie. I remember training some kids at my private facility in the beginning, hoodie covered up, and then little by little the hood comes off.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go in and you're so focused on how big you are and how much you could deadlift, you're not going to notice that there's something different about a kid who can't make eye contact or the hoodie is on. Yeah. And so what Brett Bartholomew talks about with this art of coaching and making connections and telling stories, he posted a cool infographic on his Instagram. It's very important. It's very important. And kids need the positivity. That's what you got to bring. You got to bring energy, positivity. It's just been great to have more kids back in the weight room. And I communicated with the coaches today because we're evolving the schedule. More kids are coming back to school in a week or two. And so you've got to be very flexible.
Oh, yeah.
Very flexible. What does your plans look like for strength and conditioning when you get back, knowing that some of these kids may not be doing stuff on their own? What is your kind of training program? What are you thinking about right now mentally about it?
We're going to stay total body. So right before I had to go on quarantine, we had our testing week. So we had, our 2 to 4 estimated 1RMs. We did vertical jump. We did 10-yard. So we still have numbers. And even though it's been 2 weeks, I'm not saying we're going to far fall from those numbers, but what we'll do is we'll ease them back in. So we'll ramp them up a little bit. And I've been doing it with my team builder. I love my 5x5. Tell the kids, hey, look at what you did last week for this lift.
Right.
And if you're feeling it, go up. Use that RPE scale. Understand that I want 1 in the tank at the end of each one. So if you fail on set number 2, set 3, 4, and 5 aren't going to be very good. So understand that RPE, get them to know that, and get back into that frame of mind, so that when we come back to school, we can do that first week of a 5x5, and I can ask them, you feel like you can go up? If you can, I want to see you on set 4, but I want to see that RPE where we need it to be.
Yeah, I like to give them, I actually wasn't sure how I was going to program when I started with regards to the weight selection. And I remember, I spoke with you and I spoke with Coach McKenna, and you were using Team Builder at the time. And Coach McKenna, he says to me, he's like, I'm old school, baby. I'm using the whiteboard. And I was like, oh, thank God, because I was coming in. I started on October 30th. So I didn't start with the kids in the beginning of the year. I was coming in at the end of playoffs, or the beginning of playoffs of fall, which is you got to be careful of introducing a new stimulus. You don't want kids sore. And so I had a lot on my mind. And I remember asking John about weight selection. He goes, I explained to them, hey, was that easy? Okay, you could go up a little bit. And the big thing I remember taking away from you was when you said everybody's a coach. Yep. I was like, dude, I'm stealing that. And I steal it every day to this day, Paul, is I tell them, you got to coach each other. It'll make you better. Don't just stand silently, behind or next to somebody and not give feedback. If you see it wrong, you'll get better from it. My buddy texted me, let me see if I could pull it up here. My buddy, Donnie DeFilippis, he runs the Yale Street Wrestling Club. I remember
New Providence, baby. New Providence Wrestling.
Dude, such a great guy. Talk about being great. The kids love him. The parents love him. He'll run privates for free. He's about the kids. He's also a police officer. So I said, Donnie, I remember when we first met, we were speaking to the kids at the end, and he shared, I couldn't remember who it was. He told me who it was. A guy was going in for his Hall of Fame speech in NFL. And he said, the best thing the best thing I ever did was be a great teammate. And I was like, who said that? He said, Walter Payton. I was like, dude, that's amazing that he didn't say the best thing he did was be a leader. The best thing I did was score so many touchdowns. He said, I was a great teammate. We, not me. And if you're a coach, you need to think we, not me. And I'm going to tell you now, I've made mistakes this year. I've maybe been too hard on certain kids this year, when this is not the year to be too hard on them. This is the year to have a longer leash. You don't know what's going on at home, and you miss a kid. And I've been too tough on certain kids, and I'm trying to get better every day. And I just remind myself, we, not me. And how would I want somebody to coach my son and daughter?
Yeah.
And so do your best, right? What did your coach say? Do the next right thing.
Do the next right thing. Yes.
Yeah. What does he mean by that? Like, if you get detailed with that.
Well, if say you make a mistake on the field, not to, or if a teammate makes a mistake on the field, making sure that we're living in the moment. The next thing, what's the next thing that we need to do to make it right? Beautiful. So it's not about thinking about what happened and dwelling on it. That's the boogeyman, he calls it. He calls you have the boogeyman in your head, get rid of him. Do the next right thing, step up to the plate, be there for your teammates, prove your worth.
I like it. I want to welcome, we've had some new members in New Jersey for the NHS SCA. We had Teddy Rasmussen. Mm-hmm. He's a private strength coach down in I think Manahawkin, which is near Southern Regional High School. He's got a gym called TNT Strength and Conditioning. He's all about the kids. And I got a message on Instagram earlier by Joe McAuliffe, who's a super experienced strength coach. He's also, I believe, a world record powerlifter. And he is near Middletown. I'm not sure the town he's in our area, as you know, and probably all of the country. There's a lot of private strength coaches, but Joe has been around for a while. Yep. And so he's been excited, like listening to the podcast. And he said, I'm going to get on board. And it's really cool to just see coaches wanting to get on board, because the way I view this, Paul, is a we, not me. Like, I can't wait till we get together and you share more stuff that I could learn from you. I'm going to learn from Joe. I'm going to learn from Teddy. I'm going to learn, from all these guys. It's to me, it reminds me of the golden era of bodybuilding, when there was a lot of togetherness, and just, the more that they were together, the better everybody trained and everybody competed at a higher level. That's what I hope for in New Jersey. Yep. And, looking forward to getting sport coaches to come on board so we could help them, because as we said earlier, there's not a lot of full-time strength coaches at the public school level in New Jersey. It's not like, I think, some states, Georgia, the Carolinas, Texas, I think they tend to have more strength coaches full-time at the high school level. So you need the right administration. And for those listening, look, that might be a transition for a strength coach. You might realize the only way for me to really make change is to be an administrator.
Yeah.
Because you understand it on a deeper level. So what else? Should we close out with anything? You got anything about food? You got anything about movies? What do you got, Paul? I've been busy. No movies for me.
Movies, Coach. After the Super Bowl, the Equalizer TV show was on. What? So I watched that. I think it was Queen Latifah. Show? Yeah, Queen Latifah is the new Equalizer weekly TV show. Wasn't bad. I'm going to say, see if you can find it.
Well, I'm going to say this. When I was 19, maybe 20, I trained at Diamond Gym in Maplewood.
Yeah.
And one of my training partners was from Newark. And I went with him to Newark. He worked at the deli. And we saw Queen Latifah walking down the street.
Nice.
And he's like, hey, Queen Latifah, Queen. He's shouting to her. And she's like, shouldn't you be in that deli scooping ice cream, boy? She said it to him straight. I think she might be from Irvington.
Really?
Yeah. And Irvington's a tough area.
Yeah, it's a tough town, baby.
But she is a queen. She's a boss.
I'll tell you what, we still got to, if anybody out there is watching, knows anybody who knows Denzel Washington, we need him on the show. I'll tell you what, man. That's a bad dude.
He's a bad dude. And when he speaks, I love the way you could tell he's a good man with a good heart. And you can't fake that. You can't fake it.
Hey,
And
next week I'm going to talk about the slow cooker. We talk about doing that with the kids. I'll tell you what, I've gone back to the slow cooker in quarantine. Oh, baby, I can tell you right now, I'm going to give you a pot roast that we did with horseradish mashed potatoes.
a
We're
pot
going to
roast,
work
is
it.
that the same as a rib roast?
Nah, well, it wasn't a true pot roast. I used a beef tip and I
Mhm.
chopped them up and put them in with some stuff and put some mashed potatoes out on the side and put it over top of the mashed potatoes.
In the oven?
No, just in the slow cooker.
Oh, in a
That's it.
slow cooker.
Yeah. Talk about it
Yeah.
all the time, incorporating everything together, slow
Yeah.
cook our athletes. Come on now.
Oh, well, dude, I'll share this. I don't know exactly what my mom put in that slow cooker, but I was so into the training and bodybuilding as a teenager. I remember my mom had a slow cooker and she would put in a few whole eggs. She'd put in meat, rice, some of those potatoes. Maybe she put in like chicken broth or beef broth, but she made it in the slow cooker. And I was like, man, this is the ultimate blend of protein, carbs, and fats. That slow cooker's legit.
Oh man, it all incorporates together.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Boom. All right. Well, listen, for everybody listening, thank you. Please leave a review. That's going to help us get the word out. Some of you have been sharing on Instagram. Really appreciate that. If you could link it up in your Instagram, we're on Apple, Spotify, anywhere you could listen. This is episode 4. And then most important, we want you to become a member of the National High School Strength Coaches Association. It's a nonprofit. You go to nhssca.us. You're going to love it. I mean, everybody, it's just such an ultimate family of coaches, both men and women. And I don't think in New Jersey we have any female strength coaches as members yet.
No.
The NHSSCA.
Oh, I take that back.
We
No,
do?
Lawrenceville School.
Oh yeah.
Yep,
We
she's
need,
on there.
let's
Wise is her last name.
okay. We
Coach
need to
Wise.
get her on the podcast because
All right.
I think that would be awesome. And I think Lawrenceville, from what I've heard, has an an amazing setup. I think
They do.
what's his name was there, the legend, Dwayne Carlisle.
Wayne Carlisle. He set it up. Yeah, he did a great job.
Dwayne is a legend, and that dude's like, he's awesome. We might be able to get him on board.
Okay.
He's an OG. He's private. He was private sector, Division I college, pros. Now he's private again. He's an experienced man. Well, we could talk for 10 hours, Paul. We could keep going. So we're going to shut it down. I hate to end it. I could keep chatting with you. Do you have what do you got, bro?
I'm gonna say, just get your Adidas zip ups out for the next one. Let's go.
Adidas zip up. I need to get a Cadillac. Maybe I could talk to a friend who knows a friend. Forget about it.
One show. Once it gets niced out, top down, we'll do a show from the caddy.
That is so funny. And then I guess anybody, what my concern would be is if we have our first meeting, like people would alert the authorities. They think it's like a meeting, a mob meeting. What are all these guys doing with Adidas zip ups and white tank tops and big gold necklaces? And all they're eating is, prosciutto and mozzarella.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
So it's been great. We should also finish with, book recommendations. I mean, this podcast was supposed to be 20 minutes. We're in it for an hour. I love chatting with you, Paul. I did make a video of book recommendations. I'll post it. Do you have anything you'd like to recommend? Book?
Well, it's been a long time since I should have read it, but I'm finishing Legacy.
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
have that done tomorrow.
Yep.
And I got this recommendation. It's called Tip.
Wow.
From Dave Gordon. It's a
Okay.
simple strategy to inspire high performance and lasting success. About how to get tips, how to make sure that you're earning your keep, basically. So I'm going to dive into this one starting next week, and I'll let you know how it goes.
Did somebody gift you that book?
No, it was a friend who recommended it. So I went on Amazon and I bought it, and that's my next up. But I'm enjoying Legacy. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, Legacy is awesome. So what I'm going to recommend for our coaches from training is I want you to go on eBay and buy an old Strength and Health magazine or an old Iron Man magazine. This one's from the late 60s right here. I want you to go find something that's decades old, preferably. I think the good stuff kind of stopped in the early 80s, like Iron Man, Muscular Development. I've got a bunch of them, but try to get something from the 60s. Strength and Health magazine, maybe Iron Man, because those magazines were a blend of powerlifting, Olympic weightlifting, gymnastics, really, really cool stuff. So I'm going to ask them to go dig up stuff from, 50 years ago, 50 years ago. And a book that I gift the most is called Turning Pro by Stephen Pressfield. It's initially geared for authors and writers, but really it's about turning pro in life, just doing the work, regardless of how you feel, showing up. And to me, it's a reminder of no matter the tough day I'm having, whether it's family, whether it's something else, whether it's work, this or that, that doesn't matter. What matters is the kids. What matters is I got to show up for these kids and take whatever's my struggles, put it in my back pocket, compartmentalize it, and give these kids my all. And so Turning Pro is I love that book. So I highly recommend that. Okay.
Well,
Great.
that was a great one.
Great one.
Great to see Rich.
Yes.
And
Rich
I can't wait for next week.
Yep. Cool. So hang on. We're going to shut it down. Again, everybody, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Please leave a 5-star review and then write something when you leave a review. All you got to do is you open the show on your phone, not the episode, the show. And then you scroll down and you'll see leave a review. 5-star, submit the review, and then write something up. Paul and Zach are awesome. They should take over Tony Soprano's role. Like, whatever you guys want to write up, write something up and share it with a coach. Help out another coach. That's how we're going to get better. We're going to help each other. So we'll talk to everybody soon. I'm going to shut it down. Everybody, see you later.